Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independent Street Tarot and Seasons and Ritual, and I'm here tonight and we're going to do it. We're going to talk politics. Now, do I feel like I'm kind of pandering to the masses, all 100 of you that watch my channel? Um, a little bit. Because politics is a hot topic. Politics is salacious. A lot of times these things get views. Am I saying my humble video here is going to get millions of views? That's not what I'm saying. But I'm also saying I feel like I understand sort of the Pandora's box that can be opened with these kinds of things. At the same time, I do cast a wide net with friends um, and colleagues. And, people have a lot of questions and people are very scared and people are very nervous. So I thought that this would be a good time to come on and just talk about my views, the way I kind of see things. Um, of course, I do see things through a lot of times with astrology and there are people on YouTube and whatnot that do pull cards. I'm not going to pull any cards for these. These are just going to be based on what they call them, some of the hits that I get. As Heidi would say, could be a home run, could be swing and a miss. So we'll see. As always, I have to say the information coming in is for entertainment purposes only. At the same time, I do want you guys to start zooming out and start seeing a bigger picture, okay? Because sometimes we do get mired in what we think is just happening right in front of us. And and that can be very nerve-wracking. It can be anxiety. It can we can feel a lot of things. So just so you know a little bit about me, I am a registered Democrat. I do lean left. That being said, and I was thinking about this before I went on this to make this video. I don't know why exactly I am a registered Democrat in the sense that my family was pretty much 50-50 Republicans and Democrats growing up. Honestly, that was never a problem. Um, Honestly, I'm just gonna say it. Honestly, that was never a problem until FOX news came around, and then all bets were off. There was no discussion anymore. It got real mean and real ugly real fast, and it was too bad. And I can tell you this, being a tarot reader and working with energy and whatnot, I do parties, and there was a while there, when I would do weddings and women would come to me and they would just say, my husband has become an awful person because of FOX news. And these were like mothers of the bride, and they were like, they were never like this. So, um, it is important, just not only with FOX news, but all news outlets, that we need to start realizing, even on YouTube, you can go look at different channels, that a lot of this is storyline based. Okay. Some of it is facts. There is a couple shows that I usually watch on MSNBC. I used to get made fun of because I used to just watch the Rachel Maddow show all the time. Just me and the puppers. We would just be there with Rachel every night. And I don't watch the news that as much anymore. I do stay on top of the news. And there are times when I'm listening to the news and I'm like, they are gaslighting the living HELL out of me right now. I've got to turn this off. So it's important to realize the news, MSNBC, CNN, FOX, all these things, they are here to make money. They are here to make money. When they say this is what the storyline is, they are not lying. This is the storyline. This is the story they're putting together to keep us engaged because they need engagement. It's the same thing with social media. Social media runs because it needs engagement. That's why they have millions of bots on there, because they have to have their people, what do you call it? Their investors keep seeing that they're making money, right? This isn't a conspiracy. This is real. This is real. That's why people always wonder, why don't they crack down more on fake accounts, or at least, when you post something, it's like share it on such and such community. They need these bots and stuff to let their investors thinking that these platforms are still growing, because they need everyone to keep thinking that there's more and more engagement. So when you go back to just normal news, it's important to see it's a storyline. They are pushing a narrative. And this narrative for a very long time has been the ex-president DT and the current president, correct? And then with the current president, then we've been hearing a lot about, Hunter Biden's backpack and all these things. And now, we have Ukraine, we have Putin, we have all these things. Mitch McConnell is extremely is not going to be around much longer, and they're trying to figure out how are they going to work with this. Okay, so these are my predictions, okay? And this is where it's okay to be like, Jamie, what? Okay, first and foremost, I have to say entertainment purposes only, but these are my predictions. Mitch McConnell isn't going to last much longer. I give him 3 months tops. Okay. DT is actually going to go to trial in January, even though for the Jack Smith case. Okay. It's going to be pushed to January because he's going to keep running his mouth. And I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this one in Florida. I haven't really been keeping up with his trial in Florida. And the one with Fani Willis, it's going to go to as planned, and it's probably going to go. I mean, she might get that October 23rd date. The other thing with Mark Meadows, I believe, is going to peace out. I don't think he's going to stick around much longer. One of the things they were saying, he wanted to move the stuff to federal court because there wouldn't be cameras in the courtrooms. But honestly, I think the other thing Mark Meadows did, because he did testify already, and everyone that's an expert was surprised. Why is Mark Meadows testifying? And he's, got all that stuff on the record. And I think he wanted to testify and get all that stuff on the record because he doesn't want to. I mean, he may go through, he may testify, but when these sentences come down, I don't think he's going to stick around to serve any of these sentences. I think he's decided that he's not going to serve these sentences. I think you guys are good. You know what I'm saying here with Mark Meadows. I think he is at home eating all the things he wants to eat and do all the things that he wants to do. So when the time comes, he can sign off and go go in transition. Okay. So I feel like that's the energy coming from Mark Meadows. I also think he made this decision a long time ago. I think right when he gave half the stuff over to the January 6th committee and then all that stuff, I think right then he made that choice. Okay, this isn't like a split second decision. And again, you guys, this is just what's coming through for me. We'll see, right? We'll see. So also, I think I think when all this stuff is going to start crumbling pretty fast, and there's not going to be any more smoke and mirrors, right? Because we've got all these retrograde planets. As we always talk about, Mercury's retrograde right now. It's gonna turn direct on the 15th or 16th. But the other planets are still going to be retrograde. And I made a little sheet actually about when planets go retrograde. And so I'll probably post that I might post it here on YouTube, but I'll definitely post it on my website, which the links are always in the comments below or whatever. Because retrogrades are extremely important, because retrogrades give us that time to go over things. And it would be like, I think retrogrades, it's like being asleep, like we have to go to sleep, we have to review, we have to stop, right? And that's what these retrogrades do. And it brings things back around that maybe we missed, or something that we need to go over in order to put it to rest so we can, fly forward. At the same time, they can be kind of aggravating because maybe we feel like we're a little sticky. Maybe things are moving forward, but not fast enough. So they teach us patience, which is very important. Because when it comes to DT and these trials, and all these things, when watching the news again from not FOX, but MSNBC and stuff, there was still a lot of anger why things weren't moving fast enough to get him to trial, and all of these. This Fonnie Willis trial has been in the making for 2 years, and but they were really mad at the Justice Department for not moving the stuff forward with Merrick Garland, and then they handed it off to Jack Smith, and he took it, and he is like laser focused. I also think him and DT are the same sun sign, and so that is just also a lesson. If you're just a POS your whole life, it's going to catch up with you. Okay. So just, that's a sidebar. But anyway, I think they're both Geminis. I do. I can double check, but I think they are. So, that's how things roll. Again, it's not necessarily your sign. It's just whether you're a piece of shit or not. That's that's what I always say. If you're a good person, you're a good person. If you're not, you're not, and there's plenty in between, and we have good days and bad days. So there's that. So, and so it's important, thank you, for to understand something else, or to start seeing something differently. I don't think Donald Trump wants to become president. And I know that's the storyline. It's a goddamn worn out storyline. And it to me personally is, I just wish they would end that storyline. And I think they're going to have to, because these things are coming down. And the whole storyline is, well, he wants to become president so then he can pardon himself and everyone else, and all these things. And that does make a good storyline. At the same time, we have to remember this man has no money. He wants us to pay for everything. So, okay, or let's say he has money, but he wants us to pay for everything. So he announced he was running for president a million, super early, because then he could start fundraising, right? His t-shirt with his face on it made $7 million. I have never once thought he wanted to be president again. I have always thought he just wants to raise money. I think the same thing with Ron DeSantis. I don't think he actually wants to be president either. I think he just wanted to raise a lot of money, because he passed that law that said he could run for president yet still be governor of Florida. And I get, these guys, have these things, we all have egos, and then you get in it, and then you think you're doing something. Maybe you do want to be president, all this stuff. But I can tell you right now, I don't think there's any part of him. Well, there's maybe some parts of DeSantis that wants to be president, but I don't really think so. I think he just wanted to also get money from super PACs and fundraising. And it was interesting because about a month ago or so, Mitt Romney wrote an article telling donors, stop putting money towards these people, right? Mitt Romney did not make an article telling us regular folks, this is why you shouldn't support these things. He wrote a letter to all his billionaire friends and millionaire friends saying, stop throwing money behind these people, because they're a joke, right? And so it's important for us to start seeing all these things. Now, am I saying, this is 100% what's happening? No, I'm not. At the same time, we need to pull back and start seeing different scenarios. We can't keep going on exactly what people want us to think, especially these companies that make a lot of money that want us to be engaged. And one way they keep us engaged is with fear. Because when we're scared and we can't think, well, like what else could be happening? I better keep looking so they can keep telling me what's happening. And when before it would just be facts, like they would just say, this is what's happening and this is facts. Now, again, I'm not telling you guys this stuff to make you scared or to get you off your rocker, but it's important for us to start thinking differently and not necessarily go down like conspiracy, go down those conspiracy foxholes or whatever, or, down the rabbit hole. Sorry. But it is important to ask ourselves, is this really what's going on here? Why would this man start running for president like 3 years before? Like he just immediately came out. And it's important to realize so much of our country, almost, I mean, like, and I'm kind of bummed out about it, but like so much of it's just driven by money, and it's coming out as we can see with the Supreme Court, and I get it, like it was in front of us the whole time, but I don't think I really got it, like I saw it, but I really didn't get it, with all the non-disclosure agreements that people just get paid not to talk, when FOX had to get rid of TC, nothing. And then that other woman had a complaint against him, and she got $12 million or whatever. I don't know the exact thing, she can't say anything about it, right? Because they settled it. And then on the same time, CNN, I meet a lot of people in this job, and they all have bosses, so you hear a lot of things, but it's not like these other companies are just clean and everything's great. I'm pretty sure they're owned by a Republican. I think the Republican owns CNN. I'm not, and so again, there is this idea that we need to kind of start getting used to the fact that people want certain storylines to go because they are sensational. They will keep the viewer coming back. And it's got to the point where it's a little mind numbing. And one side I think is a little bit better than the other with just kind of hitting home runs with really shitty narratives, really scary narratives. And now what's happening with this retrograde period, people are starting to bring back all the stuff these people said before, right? And it's making them look like jackasses. So keep your guys' eyes open on that. See what people said before, because then you're going to start seeing that these people don't really think for themselves. They're being told what to say. And I think, and again, this isn't to scare us. I'm putting this out there so we can start taking a step back and start saying, wait, there can be another narrative to the story. I need to understand that this is kind of being railroaded in this one direction because they want viewership. Because I can tell you right now, 3M had to settle. Now I can't remember what state it was, but 3M had to settle because they were polluting the water so bad. I can't remember what damn state this was in. Look it up. 3M settlement for water pollution. That should have been the leading headline to me for months. We should be knowing that our water is getting polluted. Instead, we have to keep hearing about Hunter Biden's backpack, and listen, I don't know, the thing with like the Biden crime stuff. Look, these people have been in politics all their life, right? I do not know about listen, I can say things like this. I understand nepotism. I understand giving your kid a job. I understand that your kid is a drug addict, and made really bad decisions. So I get all that. At the same time, if I was watching FOX News, that's all they talk about. But there hasn't been any solid evidence, against President Biden, right? And am I saying everything he's ever done his entire political life's been on the up and up? Probably not. It's fucking politics, you guys. Like, everyone needs to like take a step back and grow up. Okay, like, it's politics. He's been in it his whole life. Okay, and his son, this one, has had a lot of problems, right? And we get it. I do think there's more pressing problems for the entire country than the one son. Okay, and I do think there's more pressing problems than the one DT. And we're in, right now we have Tommy Tuberville holding up a bunch of things because of his oneness. And this is the thing with this age of Aquarius. We start noticing the individual and what these individuals are doing, but it's also about the collective, right? And this is when this collective starts to rise, right? So this is an important time in America and in the world because we need to stay united, okay? Because there are more of us that are just normal effing people that have normal lives, that do normal things, really. And I know this normalcy runs the gamut because I'm a weirdo, right? Um, but I still see myself as pretty effing normal. Okay, you guys, like I can tell jokes, I can hold a door open for someone, I can say, "Hey, how you doing? Have a good day." Normal people things. Stop, let people crosswalk, be a little wife. When I go for my walks, I always say hello to my neighbors, "Hey, how's it going? Have a good day," nice, these little normal things that we do. There's more of us, okay? And so the idea that we keep getting scared because one person is going to ruin it for all of us, that is where the shift starts to happen, okay? And so we're going to have these more conversations. That's why these unions are getting bigger, okay? This is why the unions are getting stronger. Also, because the current president believes in unions, that's also helpful. But also to me, that is that age of Aquarius with community. So also, we've got to demand more out of our people that we send to Washington. These people are getting paid to do fucking nothing, right? And I mean that with like Jim Comer, who just keeps talking about HB's backpack. I mean, think about it. This guy, he does not give a shit if he looks like the biggest fool. Every day, he still gets paid. The rest of us are just like, can we pass laws and stuff? No, and he just keeps getting paid for doing nothing. So we also have to see when people aren't doing anything by pretending to do something. Okay. Tommy Tuberville, he's not doing anything. He just keep saying no, and then he keeps getting paid. If I kept telling my boss no, I'm not going to keep getting paid. And again, this isn't to make the old blood pressure rise, but this is just to start seeing different narratives so we can get different answers to these age-old questions, okay? We've got to start thinking about these things differently, not only on a national level, but just like a personal level. When it comes to your life and you're like, this, I keep running against this same thing. Okay, well, let's ask a different question. Let's see it a different way. Let's see how we can work around this. Okay. So let's move on to Putin, because everyone is getting real nervous with this guy who is not a good person. And I say that in 3D terms, right? At the same time, on this earth, he's he's not, okay, and whatever, spiritual, whatever. So I think he's really sick. I don't think he's going to be around much longer either. I doubt it he's going to make it through the winter. I really don't think he will. Um, Kim, he's talking to Kim Jong-un in North Korea, and I did watch a little bit on the news about this, but one of the things, here's the thing, Russia is broke, flat broke, okay? Um, and they don't have any money, right? So he's going to them for money, and then North Korea can't feed their people, so he's going to them to see if they can get food that way. So keep these narratives in your mind. And this isn't the idea, that these people, they always say they're so desperate and they're going to blow everything up. The thing about these people is that they're crazy, right? They kind of think they're fine, when we're the ones seeing it from the outside, being like, you guys have no money and you don't have this. So everything's going to be okay. I don't think he's going to be around much longer. I think he's just going to die, honestly. There's reports coming out that he's sick, that he has cancer. And so they're going to be thinking about how to make moves. I think peace is coming to the world. I do. Okay. We've just got to get through this turbulent time right here. The reality of it is, everything is shifting, everything is changing, and we're all here at this time to help this shift move forward. Okay. We're all here at this time to start thinking differently and honestly, like thinking back to who we were as our original selves, and we can get back to that compassion. That doesn't mean that um you can dislike something and still be compassionate about it, like you can not be happy with something but still have compassion. But the idea is like getting back to the idea that 99% of us all want the same thing. We all want security, we all do want abundance, we all do want happiness. And when we start getting back to those core root values within us, then we can have conversations with other people that don't look like us or don't come from the same background, um, because we're not going to just be told, no, that can't, we're going to be like, no, why can't we make this happen? Why can't we get a good solution? This isn't appropriate that these things aren't passing or these things aren't coming up. And if it comes down to, the idea of that 1%, again, there's 99% of us. Okay. And we just have to remember that there's 99% of us. And when people get scared and start saying, yeah, but yes, things are really ruled with money right now. It's a little it kind of bums me out. But not to the point where I don't want to get out of bed, not to the point where I'm not going to say hello to my neighbor, not to the point where I'm not going to take my doggy for a walk, not to the point where I'm not going to check in on a friend and say, hey, how you doing? How you feel today? Those things that bring you happiness and bring me happiness, that's what we need to focus on. When we start remembering that happiness, that's what creates change in the world. And then we can start seeking those things out and we can say, actually, we can band together and we can do this. Keep it small at first, keep it within your realm, and then move it out to the other realm. But also remember, again, news media outlets, all these things, they need engagement. And unfortunately, engagement's been based on fear for a lot of things, and so start noticing what words they use, start noticing, is this gaslighting me? Start noticing if they make things seem so bleak. I mean, all the time, I'm always like, Jesus, all the time they're like, this is very scary, or they'll be like, we should be very, very worried. But they say that a lot. This is very scary stuff. This is very scary. People should be scared. I mean, they say that all the time. And I'm like, I got it. I got it. At the same time, we could be saying things like people need to come together, or people need to ask questions, or people need to see what's happening, but also realize there's a way to change this. They don't really say that very much. And I'm gonna touch on one more thing, and that is this idea of money. And I'm scratching Thomas right now. And this idea, we're going to start making better living wages, right? And I want everyone to remember this. Look and see how much money these people are raising in their super PACs and in all of them. I'm talking just across the board. I don't remember the number. Was it $7 million DT made holding up his t-shirt, which I swear to God, I thought was a Saturday Night Live skit. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. When he was holding up the shirt with his face on it. That needs to tell us there's plenty of money in the world. We can all be rich. We can all be abundant. Okay. The haves and have-nots and this, that, and the other. This is an old narrative that needs to keep going away. So when people start saying like, we don't have money for that, we need to start thinking, well, we just raised $11 million for so-and-so to run a campaign. We as people, we could raise $11 million to help pay off student loans or go to healthcare for everyone, so these are narratives, you guys, that we need to start breaking through. We need to start seeing through. Okay. We need to start seeing why they don't want money to go to certain places and other places. Right. And again, I mean, if this makes you mad, I'm sorry. But it is this idea just to start waking you up to be like, to not believe everything you hear. Um, because you don't need to be hopeless at this time. This is a time of new ideas coming in. This is a time of getting back to our roots. This is a good time. This is time we're like starting to save the earth again, thank God. We've been boiling here for so long. Like today it was, I think, 101. And it felt great because for 30 days it was 115. That did not feel great, I went for like 6 walks a day. So again, I digress. When I say these things, take them with the idea that we need to start asking different questions, right? Because when you start thinking differently, that energetically, that changes everything. Also know when these walls start to fall, it's going to get real awkward real fast because they're not going to be able to spin this. They're not. They're not going to be able to spin things, either side, FOX or the other side. They're going to have to just kind of pick their selves off the floor and go with it, right? And start reporting hopefully the facts and stop putting everyone against each other. Like I said, I usually vote, I mean, I vote Democrat, I lean left. But I have a lot of Republican friends. We always met in the middle. There was nothing like we couldn't discuss. And I'm telling you, that all changed with FOX news. FOX. And this could go on for long, but I think this is where I'm going to end it. I might do a video with just talking about retrograde planets. That's what I think I'll do. I'll do another video where I just talk about retrograde planets. I don't think I'll bring up the politics, but I was trying to figure out if I should say this or not. This is one other thing. I think, and this came to me a long time ago too. Most of the shit came from a long time ago. I have been sitting on it. But I've started saying it now, which is interesting because when Uranus goes retrograde, sometimes it's like we feel scared to come out and speak. We get a little shy, but I also think that also helps us so we can move through that. But Matt Gaetz, I feel like Matt Gaetz is going to flip on everyone, and we'll see how that works out. Entertainment purposes only, but I feel like he is not going to go to jail, folks. So I think he's gonna flip. So we'll see. But gonna leave it there. I really want us to start remembering as humans, we all do want the same thing. Okay. Start engaging in meaningful conversations with one another. Start see through all the hype and the hysteria and just all the crap that they do to make us feel unstable, and turn the freaking news off if you have to for a week. There are times where sometimes I listen to like 5 minutes and I'm like, not today, I can't do it today, and then I jump on YouTube and I get little clips here and there. So try to stay in the know, but you don't have to. You can be involved with nature. You can be involved with your animals. You can be involved with your kids, your parents, whatever brings you joy. That's what you can be involved with. Okay, friends, tomorrow I'm going to be releasing a video with my healer series that I'm starting. I'm going to reintroduce my good friend ID Kansas, who is a death doula, an activist, an artist, sex activist. So we did a little video discussing, sometimes as healers, we go through things. We go through depression. We go through not good days. And so I'm gonna release that tomorrow. It's a really good talk. Of course, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on my websites or here in the comments. And until then, you guys, we're doing a really good job. We can do better, and we're going to do better, but we're doing a good job. We're starting to see the truth through things. So have a good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.